Alright everybody, welcome to DCPC Live presents Scene Support. This is the podcast that highlights the unsung heroes of the music scene. The recording engineers, the show promoters, record labels, graphics artists, photographers, zine writers, sound people, graphics artists, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about. I'm your host, Scott Pash, owner and operator of DCPC Live, a DIY record label documenting the live scene, hardcore punk, ska, and metal on short-run vinyl. I have 30 years playing in hardcore punk bands in DC, Florida, and New York, and I've been booking and promoting shows for just about as long. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of great bands, but I'm really interested in talking to the people behind the bands. Today's guest is Tim Donahue from Phameless Records in Philadelphia. If I had to pick one label that I brought for most in 2024, it would be Phameless. I've got 5 records right here to my left that I bought, and that's a lot of fucking vinyl for me to buy, because I spend a lot of time putting out vinyl, and often can't afford to buy it. But I bought a lot of their fucking shit, from the ska punk of 13 Cavities to the prog metal of Jaelyn, and I can't wait to talk to this dude and find out how he does his shit and learn about all he does. What the fuck, Tim? How's it going, buddy?
Good. I've had 2 glasses of whiskey right before we started this, and I'm probably going to wrap up with an edible before the end of the night.
Well done, sir.
It's that time of year, man. Fucking stoked to talk to you.
Fuck yeah. So you run a record label. Like, I did some research. As far as I could tell, the earliest thing I could find on social media, which is how we gauge all history nowadays, and I'm a history teacher, is in 2015 was your earliest Facebook post. Is that when the label started?
Honestly, I feel like the last couple of years have all merged together. So if you're asking me about something 10 years ago, like, it's pretty hard to keep track of. That does sound about right. So okay. I'm going to say yes. But it originally started like so many other like tiny shit labels. Like, nobody would put my band stuff out. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go into debt and fucking put something on vinyl. So I could sit there and say I did it before I died, which hopefully is later than sooner, you know?
Oh, so I also, my first release was a 7-inch with my band and another band. There was some former students of mine. I used to be a history teacher. So, yes, I entirely understand. Hey! I'm going to put it out myself.
It's got to be like the backstory of like 99.9% of labels, man. 100%.
But how many of them continue? And like, you're 10 years in, and like I said, I picked up 5 records from you. 4 of them came out this year. I don't know how many others came out this year, but that's, I know from experience, that's a lot to fucking put out.
Oh God, yeah. This year, the last 2 years is actually half the catalog. So I basically, like, when shit came out of lockdown, I kind of went crazy.
Okay.
So like, it was just one of those things where I was like, you know, like, there was like that 2 years where there were no shows, you couldn't hear anyone, and it was just like this weird dry spell. Like, I tried doing a couple zines, and put those out just because I was bored out of my fucking mind. And the last 2 years, especially after I started going back to shows again and just seeing people and just fucking living life again, I was just blown away with just what everyone's doing, especially the fucking young heads, man.
Yeah.
They're just doing so much cool, weird, intense shit, and it's just the best thing in the world, man. And it just soothes my old soul, man. It's just fucking great.
And I love that. Like, you know, I get that. The whole pandemic, mine started during the pandemic, because I started doing live streams, and I recorded them and put them out on vinyl, and then afterwards, like, can I continue doing this now that the pandemic's over? Because I have a taste for this, and I want to keep it going. So, you know, for all the bad of the pandemic, like, it made you appreciate what you had, you know, before it shut down.
Yeah, so, man.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, please.
So, I looked at your catalog, and it's mostly Philly bands with a couple Jersey bands. Are you, like, doing the whole Discord thing where you, like, we only release the bands in our local area? Or, like, if someone came to you and said, hey, I'm from Tanzania, and I want you to put my shit out, and I'm going to tour the U.S.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I have to hear it live, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's, like, I've heard, and I've had people send me stuff they recorded themselves, and it's cool and all. But, like, we've both heard so many good records and been disappointed by bands and vice versa.
So many times.
And it's one of those things where it's like, how do you capture that fucking lightning in a bottle where there's this band that's just like, you hear it and you're like, I have to, that's really what it comes down to, is it's like, I see this band and I'm just like, I have to get this out in the world. And that's kind of like what happened with a lot of these bands. Like Chemical X, like I saw them opening for my friend's band in the weirdest, creepiest Polish club basement I've ever been to. Like everything was fucking purple with velvet like curtains everywhere. Dude, that's the one. They're so fucking good.
I got it right here. I got Chemical X for those of you listening. Holding it up. Okay, keep going.
Dude, it's fun. And you got one of the last copies. I'm down to like 9 copies, and we're not repressing that one. So,
fuck yeah.
But like, I went to see my buddy Pat Society from the band Violent Society.
Violent Society, and he was like cranked up really high and
cranked up. Yep. And he's in a band now called Battalion Zoska. And I went to go check them out, and I just Chemical X opened, and I was like, the fuck is this? Like these 4 guys just, never been to Philly before, and they just fucking unloaded, and it was just perfect. It just blew me away, and it just completely raw, maybe played 12 songs, maybe 25 minutes, no bullshit, just balls out, and it was just fucking great. And that's the type of shit I like to see, especially from younger bands, because it's like, holy shit, where did they get this from? And it's the same thing with like, I did a couple records with this band called Friend, and first time I saw them, I was working door at a bar in Philly called Century, like great little bar.
Century,
yeah, it's my favorite dive. Like it's so great. Like, but that was October of 2021 was the first time, 2021 or 2022. Like I said, the last few years are a blur. Where I saw them, and it was just like these 3 kids walk in. I don't even know if they're old enough to drink, and they're just maybe they probably weigh like 250 pounds between the 3 of them. They ask to borrow everyone's gear, and then everything gets cranked up to 10, and it's just fucking out there, and it's fantastic, and they're weird, and they're perfect, and it's just like I'm fucking.
And you saw it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the live, right? And I think the first time I heard of your label, and I don't feel so bad now that I know you've really just cranked it the last 2 years, is I was down playing the Fire in Philly, and I played with 13 Cavities and Assemble. And I'm old friends with Chuck, or Matt, whatever you want to call him. I still call him Chuck. When he was in the Richmond area, and he was in I Live with Zombies and then Botox Party. So him and I go back way, way, way long time ago. But I saw 13 Cavities, like, this shit is dope. So when the record came out, I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking pick it up. I enjoyed seeing this band. And I know that what I'm going to hear, if it even captures part of what I enjoyed live, is going to be fucking sick. And then the same thing happened. I saw Chemical X. They came up to New Windsor, New York. They played an Outsider show at a VFW Hall thing. And I was like, this is rad. And I was like, not only is this rad, but it's on that fucking Phameless Records label. So I'm going to pick this up too. So I get it.
Yeah, man, I lucked out. It's just they're coming out of the woodwork here. It's so weird. Like everyone's
Philly
just
seems like it's just got so much happening right now.
It does. It's weird because there's not a lot of places to play, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Fire, you've got Century, maybe some house shows. Is there other venues that I'm not aware of?
Oh yeah. So like there's a couple good venues. So outside of like the big places, you got Kung Fu Necktie, which is great. You have Silk City, which is fucking small. It's fun. There used to be a really cool place, I wish it was still around, called JR's in South Philly, but that's gone. Creep Records does some shows. Eric's fucking amazing.
Yes, Creep. I met them at Camp Pennsylvania. Eric seems like a really great dude.
Dude, he's helped me out so much with just fucking like directing me of how to like really put out a record or how to work with bands and stuff. And solid dude. Absolutely great musician. Solid dude. Ortlieb's, which is never a fun place. Fucking, they're leaning really hard into selling hot dogs at Ortlieb's, but they do a lot of good shows. I don't understand it.
Fascinating.
As a fat guy, I'm totally about the hot dogs, so it's all good.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking my thin parts myself, so I always try and feed the bands where I did, and I'm trying to bring that back again for the shows I have coming up. I did a tour of Europe once where they fed us everywhere, and I was like, oh, this is how it should always be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I hate to resort to tour pizza, but sometimes that is the easiest way for me to do stuff, because some venues I can't bring a crock pot of food.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
So,
I remember the Toasters got mad at me for feeding them pizza once when I was a kid.
yeah, they get tired of it, but like
Yeah.
you also get tired of promoter pasta, where they bring you this like shitty pasta. I used to make vegan chili, just because in the DC area there's enough vegans around, even 20 years ago, that I just reverted to like vegan was just the route that I went, because I couldn't make 3 different fucking chilies. But now I'm like picking up pizza. I'm getting a vegan pizza, a gluten-free pizza. I was like,
Easiest way to take care of everyone. Yeah, man. And appreciate when people give that sort of stuff too, because it's, if you get like a floor to sleep on, if you get a fucking hot shower, that's like the best thing in the fucking world.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
When we toured Europe, I think in like the 3.5, 4 weeks we were there, I think I only got to shower like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was fucking terrible. I was like, so disgusting.
Yeah, but when you get that shower, it's so nice.
Oh no, getting the shower was fucking great. That's fucking great. So okay, so you select the bands by like you see them live, you get their vibe, you feel it, feels you inside, it grabs you and says, "Fuck yeah, I gotta put this out." So what do you do? Like how I don't know how other record labels do stuff, because mine's a weird anomaly. Because since I do live albums, I can record 4 bands in one night and get their whole sets, and I tell bands that I cover the cost, because sometimes like you just fuck up, or the guitar cord cabinet blows up, and whatever it is. But to them it's like, oh, it's no loss. And to me, I can record 4 bands for the price of like 1 day in the studio for 1 band. So that's kind of how I handle royalties, is by covering that and covering mixing and mastering. What do you do for your bands, if you don't mind sharing that kind of like insider information?
Oh, sure. So it really depends on what they're looking to do, right? So like Chemical X, when they were doing the their vinyl, they had all this shit already streaming for the most part.
Yeah.
And they just wanted something out there in the world that someone could hold. So I was like, good deal, done.
Sounds
easy
perfect.
enough.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I read a long time ago that Ian Mackay, he basically just worked out like bands get a percentage of the cut after he recoups all of his cost.
Okay.
I'm really informal, mostly just handshake deals, work out what I can. I don't want to, a lot of this stuff is like, bands are just kind of doing what they can to just get their message out there, and that's what I'm about. Like some bands, I have helped them put some stuff out in the studio. Like I just worked with, I'm wrapping up an album for a band called Alpha Sub right now.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, check them out. They're a lot like MOD.
I will check them out. Alpha Sub it is.
But they're like MOD if Billy Milano sounded like he never went through puberty. But
that is amazing.
Yeah, no, they're great. Their singer's just going to kill me for saying that, by the way. But they're great. But like I'll help bands out if they need it. A lot of times though, I want them to take kind of control of the direction they want to go. So if they have time that they can get in the studio and put shit together, cool. If not, let's put it together and work together on it.
Okay.
I just want to see. I just get excited seeing the fucking finished product, so I just kind of let them lead the way,
Okay.
and then take it from there, man.
And like, so you say you pay them after it covers it, but like, I bought this from Chemical X on the road. Mm-hmm. Do you give that to them on consignment and they owe you the money back, or do you just say, here, take your shit, or is there a certain amount that you just give them up front, like this is how many you get? And
yeah, so I'll give them like a couple cases, right? Just to make sure they have shit, because they already worked hard on it. Before we even talked, they already wrote these songs. They already practiced them to the point where they're tight. They already did everything to get it out into the world, except for get it on a piece of vinyl.
Yeah.
So like I'll give them a couple cases, and then if they need more, we work something out.
Okay.
And it's more about just like I said, getting it out there. Everyone's been really cool. Like we do pre-orders ahead of time, so most as far as what costs need to get covered, we usually get it pretty quickly. And then I just want to make sure everyone has a good time and can do things like go out on the road and not have to worry about shit. That's
there
all.
you go. So like you said you do pre-orders. So I do pre-sales too. Do you like do price differences or free giveaways, or how do you make that pre-sale or pre-order special?
So for pre-sales, for the most part, I usually give away a comp to go along with it. So if you record, like you pre-order a record, you'll probably get a comp. I'm probably going to be putting out another one next year just because I'm running out of the ones I have, and they're getting a little stale. And plus, some people like you order like 4 or 5 records and have to catch up.
And you're like, what am I going to get him?
Dude, I'm sitting there like, in your case, I'm like, I got to start going through my own collection to give this guy something new. But you know, like, it's one of those things where I try to find something new and different to put in there each time. Sometimes it's, you know, they'll save on shipping, or I try to work out something different each time. Right now, though, what's been really good for me and really good for the bands is throwing in like one of those comps, though, because then, you know, they get the record they want. The person who buys it gets something new they didn't expect, and they get to check out a whole bunch of other people that they might not have even known about. And a lot of those comps too, like the last one I did was a 4-way split with my band Seeing Snakes, friend, this dude Dave Strong from Maine, who's fantastic. Yeah, that's the one.
There you go. I got it in my hands right here.
Yeah, because you have almost everything. And this band, Mad Splatter, we're kind of like a Ramonesy horror punk band.
Yeah.
Next time I want to do for next year, I want to put together like a decent like 12 to 16 track up and down the East Coast, fucking just ton of bangers.
That's
just to share it with people, you know, man.
How do you keep track? Like, do you keep, because I've done counting about 35 releases now in 4 years, and I like to give away free records as well. And usually I go to like, okay, this is the record of a band that I put out 2 years ago, and then they broke up the next month, and it's just kind of sitting here because I pressed 200 of it because the year before they went on tour 270 days out of the year, and they told me they were going to do it again the next year, and it said they didn't. So I tend to give that one out fairly often because it's not moving. But at the same time, like I'm really bad at going, oh, what did I give this person last time if I have a repeat person? Do you good at keeping track of that shit?
No.
Okay, good. So it's not just me. Okay.
I'm terrible at that stuff. Oh,
I'm like, God. Well, fuck it. If they get another one, they'll just give it to a friend.
Right. That's kind of my, like, if they get something extra and they get a chance to share with people, especially when you do your pre-orders, too, because it's one of those things where if you get pre-orders and then you have to wait to ship out a huge chunk of records, like, Shopify keeps track of all that, which is why I use, but, like, when you have to dig and you're packing records at, like, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning before you go to, like, your actual job.
Yes.
You're just like, I don't fucking care. I'm tired. I smell like packing tape, which packing tape does have a smell. I never realized.
Yes, it does. Yep.
You're just like, whatever. They get it. I love you, man, but you just gotta take this record. You know,
it's like I'm done. I'm done. I used to handwrite the addresses, and I finally got a label printer because I pissed off too many people at the post office, because I'd show up there with like 50 or 70 records to mail, and they would have to print the label for each one. And people would be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You can't just sit here and like take the entire post office for the next hour. I'm here on my lunch break to mail something important.
Oh, dude, that wouldn't even fly in my post office, because like I have handwriting that makes like, they would just be like, this guy's a serial killer. What is this? Every record would not be delivered. It would just...
My students would tell you that the best part about the pandemic is they could read my comments because everything was electronic, and my handwriting is so atrocious that, like, I used to send their Christmas cards and thank you cards at the end of the year, and the kids would be like, yeah, can you read Mr. P's note to me, Mom? Because I don't understand. And it's not like I wrote in cursive. I wrote in print. It's just terrible.
I'm the same way.
It is chicken scratch from hell. Like, it's awful.
I am exactly the same way, and I feel bad because, like, I had a kid who started kindergarten in the pandemic, and, like, before she could even really do handwriting, because everything was virtual, she knew how to do PowerPoint. Like, And her handwriting's hers is like getting better, but it was like really rough because none of those kids got in front of a teacher. So,
Sure.
Man, no, yeah.
And they're typing everything up, and and I always had debate. I was like, do they really need to waste time teaching the kids cursive? If they need to learn the cursive in their 20s, if they really want to, they can.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard to learn, but you spent hours teaching like a second grader how to learn something, and they don't need it. There's apps now. You can scan the photograph. You can scan the Christmas card from mommy and daddy or grandma and say, hey, ChatGPT, Claude, tell me what this says. Put it in print for me. And they can... I'm just saying. The Constitution's online. Like, everything's online. It's everything. You don't...
Dude, not to go off a tangent, I'll send it to you after this thing, but I got drunk and was going through ChatGPT to make fake Seinfeld scripts. And... yeah, I was really bored. And eventually it just got to a script where every other line was, Jerry shits his pants. So I know people shit on AI, but it has its moments. That's all
it does. and I've used it in my business. I had to send a sensitive email to a band for some issues that came up. Yeah. And I drafted it, and my wife was like, oh, that is way too line in the sand. And she drafted something, and I was like, oh, that is way too corporate speaky. And we sent it to something called Claude, and Claude was like, didn't understand it. We said, well, I'm a punk rock guy doing yada. He was like, oh, well, in that case, yada yada. And he was like, this is actually fairly appropriate, and I appreciate how a punk rocker that's aging is trying to both keep his punk ethos while maintaining professionalism. And I was like, thank you, Claude.
Dude, it's wild. It's so
crazy.
Wild.
And I was like, I had so much fun.
Dude, it's so weird. But it does have its uses every now and then. Every now and then. So you said you don't repress. Is that just that one record? You do repress? It's just that one record.
Okay.
Because they didn't, I guess the guys at Chemical X weren't sure that the record would have legs. I didn't expect it to sell as quickly as it did.
Yeah.
And these guys have, let's see, I think they've done 3 2-week tours since they've done that, since they put it out. And they're probably I think they're going back on tour next month.
Right.
And they already have another album in the can. They're like, we just want to do this. They're like, they're working on everything right now. They're waiting to get the masters back, but they're ready to put a new one out.
That's right.
That one, the one you got, was they recorded that themselves in their house, which, by the way, fucking sounds great for a bunch of guys.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, I had no idea until they told me that. They're like, yeah, we have no idea what we're doing. We used one of those old school Porta studios, and we read up on Google where to place mics. I'm like, I had no fucking clue. I thought it sounded fucking great.
Yeah, sounded great to me.
So this time around is the first time going to an actual studio and tracking stuff. And I haven't even heard it yet, but I'm fucking excited for it. I'm excited for that.
And that's and that's where your type of label is, because I don't repress things, because I'm always looking to put out the next band's record. Mm-hmm. And I do tell the bands though that if they are really they really like the album and they want to repress it themselves, that they can do it and just put a different cover on it and just make sure I'm in the liner notes that I recorded it, and version 2 can come out with them with a different cover, and they're allowed to run with it if they really want to. But I'm always moving on to the next thing, because I don't sign bands. I do a release with you, and then I support you and get that release and help you do release shows, and you can always come to me for help if you need booking tours and stuff. But bands come to me with that. I don't put out the records, and I help them with that shit. So
yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Most of these guys, some of these records have gone down a lot, in volume. The first thing I've repressed is the first Friend record I put out, and a lot of the ones I put out, because again, half of them were put out in the last 2 years, we're kind of running low. So I'll probably see if these guys want to, put stuff out, and I'm there to support them whatever they want to do. Yeah. So whether it's a repress or a new release, fucking have at it.
How many do you press each time?
So I originally was started to when I was doing my stuff, I was going short run through Salad Merch.
Sure, without the test presses. Yep.
And then I got hit up by the company. I guess they're like the parent company, A to Z Media.
Yep, A to Z.
And they're like, well, if you keep doing stuff, we'll give you better rates with like a little bit more volume.
Okay.
So the last couple records I did were 300 copies. I'm not doing like huge ones, but you know, it's just like, you know, I feel like I'm just starting to kind of get my feet on the ground, and I just got distribution this year, and you know, I think I'm maybe gonna start like dipping my toes into doing larger stuff. Like I might do 500 for like, if I do next Chemical X record, which I hope I do because I'm fucking stoked about it. I want to do like maybe 500 there, and see how it goes.
Because I do like 1 to 200, and you know, some records sell out fairly quickly, and other records hang around. So I'm fairly hesitant to go up to those bigger numbers. But once again, you know, I've done 16 releases this year, and
it's so easy.
It's stupid, dude. It's stupid. I mean, I got lucky with some of them that sold out, like the Inquisition record, you know, the dudes from Strike Anywhere when they were in high school and stuff, and Beretta, Rebelmatic, you know, they sold out within like a month. So I had some, and then like I did a co-release with Wax Mage, and that was like, boom, that went like fucking, I was like, and those gave me the money to put out the other records.
Dude, which is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like when that
Like,
happens.
oh, yeah, I can do more.
Yeah, because you get to do stuff you want to. Like I did a record a long time ago with Green Jelly, and like
yes, I saw that the split with the Snakes.
Yeah, I'll send you a copy. But so when he did that, Bill from Green Jelly is like, stage persona aside, he's fucking crazy in the best way possible. But like he's a real character, and like I've played shows with him a number of times, but that dude is completely out of his fucking mind. Like last time I saw them, he had like just inflatable lawn decorations, so many of them on the stage that it blew a circuit. Like just you couldn't see the band anymore. It was just fucking. I almost hit him with my car before, and he was like, "It's all good." I'm like, "This dude's out of his goddamn mind." I guess he's been doing it so long and it's worked for him, but dude's out of his tree. Yeah.
Well, you know, that's how some people are, right? You know, it's you know, it's you know, I grew up when the World War was around and hanging out with Dave Brocky and stuff like that. So you know, and you know, he had his own unique eccentricities, to say the least.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. They need to do more like. That guy was fat. Like that whole band's fascinating. I missed it over the weekend. They just had Olive Guar and Trenton to do photo ops at a flea market.
Oh, rad!
Yeah, man, I missed it.
I mean, the first time I saw them, it was high school, and everybody was going to grad night, and I went to go see Fear, Meatman, and the Guar instead.
Oh, fuck!
I was like, I'm gonna much more enjoy this show than I am going to enjoy going to the cafeteria or a hotel and listening to dance music with all the same people I just spent 4 years in high school with that I didn't get along with for the most part.
Oh my god, I love Fear. I fucking love Fear.
Fear's so great.
Like one of my favorite, dude. So fucking good.
So fucking good.
Yeah, and I just listened to a new album from them too, and I dig it, man.
Yeah,
I know
it's definitely different.
Yeah,
it's got like a lot of bluesy stuff on there, which, you know, Weaving always kind of leaned towards that. You know, there's always been blues in their stuff, so it's not like, oh, where's this coming from? It's from left field. Like, I get where it's coming from.
Right. Honestly, glad the dude's still around. I know he's been having his troubles with health-wise, so good for him.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Speaking of bands you love, is there one band, if you could put out a record by any one band,
Avail,
that would just make you go, why are we not friends sooner?
Oh my god.
How is this possible that you and I did not know each other sooner?
Oh my god. My favorite fucking band of all time. And every time I'm supposed to see them, something happens. But favorite band of all time. 4 A.M. Friday is my favorite record of all time.
Yeah? I'm like speechless trying to talk to you about this. Like, okay, so you remember when they did that reunion show before they started actually doing more shows? And it was like their first show in like fucking forever.
Yep.
All right, so I was so determined to get tickets that I wrote my credit card number on the dry erase board in my classroom. because my class started 10 minutes before the tickets went on sale. And I made every single one of my sixth graders get out their iPads and their phones, had them create logins to whatever the ticket service was, or I gave them my login and like whatever. And like I had every one of them trying to get the tickets.
Oh.
And they failed. But my buddy Jay Peck got tickets. He got 4. And I ran up and down the halls screaming and yelling because I never thought this day would come that I would get to see them again because I love them.
Dude,
and
yeah.
I was so excited.
You know, like, here's the thing. Like, they don't have a bad record. First off, they do not have a bad record.
100%.
Top of that, too, no one sounds like them.
Yep.
Like, no one sounds like them. And it's just, they're phenomenal. Like,
and the energy, and even now, like I said, I've now seen them 2 or 3 times since that time, and it's still there. And, you know, and as much as I love Tim Barry's solo stuff, which I really do love it, Veil,
it's just,
I mean,
it's its own monster, man.
It's just...
Yeah, that'd be...
Yep.
That'd be it. Like, what's the live 10-inch they put out? Live at the King's Head Inn?
Yes, but I like Live at the Bottom of the Hill. That's my favorite one.
Oh, yeah. But
Live at the Bottom of the Hill.
Dude, like, but all of it just, the whole fucking lot of it is just fucking perfect.
When I was in the Twats, we used to say merch people, and a Veil was coming to the Auto Bar, and I already had tickets. But, like, a week before the show, the merch people said, hey, a Veil's on tour. You guys buy a lot from us. Would you mind if we shipped you some stuff and Avail will let you into the show for free if you can bring the merch to them? And I'm like, well, I'm already going, but yes, I'd be very happy to deliver Avail's merch to them. Thank you for giving me the pleasure of delivering their merch. Thank you for trusting me, and yes, I will deliver Avail t-shirts to them. Dude. Yes, sir. Yes, I will. Thank you so much. I will go to the Auto Bar and say, here's your shirts. Here's your shirts. I'm not worthy. I mean, fucking A.
Like, I mean, like, they're one of those bands that's so special. Like, I've seen, like, I had that reaction when I first saw the Descendants when they did their most recent reunion.
Yep.
But now they play so much, I'm like, oh, it's cool to see them.
Yep.
You know, but like,
I feel that.
Yeah. Like, the Avail's just something different, man.
They're just that awesome. I actually have on CDR Tim Barry's earlier band, LDK, Learning Disabled Kids.
Okay.
So if I give your head a rip or two, I'll send it to you. So he played drums, just like he played drums in Avail before he sang. I also have the Avail 7-inch where Brian Stewart's still singing before Tim started singing for the band.
Huh. Wow.
So,
yeah, I never heard that.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Because, like, you could definitely hear where, like, there was, like, a dag nasty, like, discordy sound going on. Like I'm sure you've heard Satiate. So it's like that, but, like, even more so.
Gotcha.
So, what I find fascinating, if you listen to the songs that are on Satiate and then listen to the live versions of those songs, they're like almost fucking different songs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Almost totally different.
Dude, it's funny that you bring up the Dag Nasty thing. I got a quick Dag Nasty story. Well,
I love Dag Nasty. Hit me, buddy. Hit me.
Yeah. So, years ago, we were playing at Kung Fu Necktie, and Kung Fu Necktie has, they're a great place, but they'll cut off any show if they have a DJ event afterwards.
Yes, I've experienced this sort of activity in the past.
So Dave Smalley's band's headlining.
Yep.
They play. He does an acoustic set first. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. And then he's like, all right, now here's what everyone wanted to hear.
Yep.
Gets them on stage, brings a full band on stage. Amps come off standby. Starts playing the intro to Values Here. House lights come on. Sound gets cut off. Everyone's just like, no.
No! No! It just started! No!
No! It was just like the biggest gut punch. And the other thing is, too, is I found this if you go to any band that was like, had any connection to Discord at all. Like, I feel like the entire crowd is chubby guys that are balding with beards that really want close talk, whoever it is, that was in that band.
Yes! Absolutely! I have awkwardly met several. Like I met Dave Smalley and like John Stabb, but it was always just very awkward. I'm not good at like speaking to people that I don't have I'm not going small talk with people who I've looked up to since I was like a teenager.
Yeah, well, how can
you know, if I meet them in a more casual thing, like I've gotten pretty close with Skeeter Thompson, Enoch from Scream, because he lives up in my area. Kindest, gentlest man, super easygoing. You know, just hung out with him and just chilled at his place, and you know, he's just a great guy. Him and his partner Mary would like house bands that come through, like small bands, like Some Kind of Nightmare. Let them stay, like just great people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but in manager, I was like, oh, what am I supposed to say to you? It's like I met Against Me at the Avail show, and I was like, technically, I met you like when I was 32 because you played my 30th birthday, but I still don't know what to say to you any more than I did when I was 30, and now I'm 15 years older, and I still don't know what to say.
Dude, I feel like that's totally normal and totally natural, and they probably get it all the fucking time.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, your album is something I listen to nonstop over and over and over again, and it meant a lot to me, and you hear this all the time, and I'm just going to dork out, and I don't know what else to tell you. I played in a band, too. No, you never... you know what I'm saying? Like,
before, right?
You know, like, you want to talk about fishing? I don't go fishing, but I want to, like, make you feel like this is a normal conversation. So let's talk about fishing.
What's the best sandwich you ever had?
Yeah. What's your favorite sandwich? Yes, they're just people, though. But, like, but I get it. There's few times in my life that even, like, somebody has tried to, like, walk up to me and say, hey, could you sign this record or sign this drumstick? And I was like, yeah, I'm literally just a dude. And it's still, like, awkward, but kind, and I appreciate it very much. But, yeah, it's like,
man.
I'm just
that rule holds true to most people, except for, I met Angelo Moore from Fishbone, and that guy is not like that. No. He's a character, man. Yeah. Like, he's followed a couple of my friends around from bar to bar, like, to hit on a woman. You know, like, he's a good time. He's been much.
He's a good time.
Yeah, he's a good time. He's just a little, not as little kids, not as normal as everyone else.
Yeah, it's always special like that.
Yeah.
So I know you talked about a Philly band you have coming up. Is there a Philly band that you've seen that you haven't put out the record that you're like, oh, I want to put this out?
Ooh. I'm basically a whore to all the bands where I'm like, let me put out your stuff. So, there's a lot of good bands that I've seen though, like Impact Driver. I'd love to work with. Let's see. Fuck's Sake, really fucking good. I saw them a couple times. Most recently, they were opening with for my buddy's band. There's this really awesome band out of Youngstown, Ohio called Nervous Aggression, and they just fucking rip. It's just balls out, just thrashy punk rock, and it's fucking great. And Fuck's Sake, same thing, just ruthless, straightforward, fast hardcore, fucking great. And that's one band I would love to work with if I got a chance, you know?
And I'll have to check those out. I know, like, I'm doing something with Soji. You know Soji?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm doing a split with them, and there's a band I really want to work with, Burning Hag. Have you seen them yet?
I haven't heard of them, no.
They're fairly new. I used to do some reviews on my blog, and I caught them, and, like, I was like, I just hope they're as good live as they are recorded.
That's why I always do the live thing.
Like I said, I do live albums. I just saw Crossed Keys at Fest, and I had them coming up here to New Paltz in March, and I'm actually recording the show, and they're open to the idea of a live album, but they're also like, well, we like to really put our all into the show, so sometimes the show overshadows performance, musically speaking, and I'm like, that's kind of the point, though. It's supposed to have all the energy, but that's okay. If you don't like it, nothing will ever be done with it. But if you do, because I saw them at Fest and they fucking ripped.
We're playing with them in a few weeks at the start of February. It's we're gonna be playing with them, Town Liar, American Television, and then us.
I love American Television. Yeah, those are old friends. One of them, Brian Flowers, used to play in a band called Looks Like Rain, like 20 plus years ago. Straight edge hardcore. You would think they're emo, but they were not.
The name would throw me that way.
Yeah, but there was like they had a kid on a skateboard and he was just sad because he was going to go skateboarding, but it was like going to rain and I don't know. But it was all super straight edge hardcore.
But dude, that's the thing. You know as well as anyone else, naming bands sucks.
Oh yeah. You know what? Worst. Every now and then, like I had a band hit me up to do a show, and I looked at them, and I'm like, oh, well, there's nothing recorded. I see no link for recording on your Instagram. Let me Google your name. I was like, oh, your name is the exact same name as a movie that I've never heard of. That's terrible. Because now like people are going to Google it, and how are they going to find you? It's like, well, let me just try Googling the band and put the word band after it. Oh, there's already 2 bands with this name that aren't you.
Dude.
Fucking A. Come up with a fucking band name that hasn't already been used. Please.
It's so, because there's a really good band down here. My buddy Roger, and they sound, dude, it's perfect. It sounds like mid-90s Lookout stuff.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, great. But they're called Knucklehead.
Oh, come on.
How many bands do you know called fucking Knucklehead?
Come on.
They're trying.
Just don't misspell it. Like when we were the Twats, another band tried to become the Twats, but with an O. I was like, no, just find your own band name.
Find your own identity, man. That's why the best band name I've heard all year, Rubik's Cube. No one's gonna steal that.
That's great.
It's fucking
That's
fantastic.
Great. I love that. Yeah,
it makes me laugh. Yeah.
Google it, see if it's already there, and if it is, don't use it.
I'd be scared if there was another band called that.
Like a whole bunch of them out there.
A whole bunch of bands, just all over named Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just maddening to me. I was like, I don't want to put out your record. No one's going to be able to find you. No.
Right.
No interest in it. No. Yeah. I did a record for a band called the Hamiltons, and there were so many bands called the Hamiltons. I'm like, oh, this is just frustrating.
There's going to be at least 5 bands that rip off the Ramones that sound like they're called the Hamiltons.
Yeah, it's easy. This band does not sound like the Ramones, but nonetheless.
But that's the first place my mind goes.
Sure, of course it is. Yeah. You know, they're more like Stooges. If Stooges was an 80 hardcore band.
Oh, right on. It's
really good. Really good.
Wouldn't have got that from the name though.
No, in no way, shape, or form. In no way, shape, or form would you have gotten that from the name.
All these bands by you, man. All these bands you work with where their names don't line up with the sound.
Yeah, I find that interesting too. Like, you know, it feels like it should, but then, you know, I don't know, maybe you name the band and then you don't realize what you're going to sound like or you change, so.
Yeah, that happens.
You know. Yeah. So do you ever collaborate with other record labels? Because I've started doing that recently to kind of help spread the promotion, spread the cost, spread the love.
I'd love to, you know. Especially because, like, I feel like there's, you know, it makes our lives a lot easier if we're not spending as much, just to be honest.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, too, is it's like someone out there has an ear that I don't have, so I would love to do that. I would actually like to do more, maybe tie in with a lot of the local promoters who have their ears to the ground.
Yeah.
We're doing, you know, because that would be cool. Because then it's like, you know, like, for instance, around here we got Hostile City Oi. They book a lot of fucking bangers. They book a lot of just fucking amazing shows. I'd love to, instead of doing a album with a label necessarily, maybe collaborate with somebody who has a very distinct approach to how they promote things and work with, you know, a certain stable of bands and be like fucking put their shit out and like drive what like the sound they're looking for, you know, because that could be unique.
And that could be like your compilation too, right? If like there's a certain promoter who has like a dozen bands they work with that like they think, hey, these bands would all be great on a comp, and they have stuff recorded and some of it unreleased, and you know, okay.
Yeah. But as far as like Philly labels, honestly, like outside of Creep and Violated, I don't really know too many. You know, like there's Rubbish Records, which is like more of like street and folk punk. And they work with a lot of good bands. I don't know if they actually put anything out like on physical media. Probably should talk to that guy.
There's Wax Packs.
Yeah.
A little further off from you.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I'd love to, you know, pick people's brains about that sort of shit too.
Well, I found this. It's been. I did one with a record store. Like the Rebel-Matic was Shiny Dome Records out in Morgantown, West Virginia, because that's where the show was recorded. Because apparently they do really well at Fuzzfest out there. So I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I love having the additional support, a record store to sell it. Speaking of record stores, you mentioned distribution. How the fuck did you get distribution? Because I've never gotten distribution. I haven't figured that shit out. Educate me.
I literally was just like, started, basically I was like, I want to put out a bunch of records, and I was like, I'm going to go quickly into debt. And I just started cold calling them, man. I was like, look, what does it take? What do you need from me? And I ended up lucking out and worked with Hostile City Distro, which is tied to another company called MVD. And they've been fucking great. They put up with me not knowing what the fuck I'm doing.
Okay.
But they took me on early on, and they're like, here's how it's going to work. In my case, it's, when they did it, they took it on consignment. And they're like, let us know how much you want per record when it sells. And they'll send me a purchase order saying, like, we need this many copies of this, and this. And then, 60 days down the line, they pay me out for whatever they do sell. And they it's actually panned out a lot better than I expected to. And, like, the bands that go on the road, they send me pictures, like, I didn't expect to see this shit in stores, like, far out, but, like, people are sending me pictures from, like, Illinois and fucking Michigan of records.
All right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, this is cool as shit. Like, I didn't expect any of this. And also, I was surprised that people still buy CDs, which is wild to me.
Yeah, I don't get that. And any more than I get the new resurgence of tapes. Like, I am decidedly... I'm trying to come off my high horse on them, in the sense that, like, 8 years ago, when I played a tape release show in my band, I brought a t-shirt that explained how to use a pencil to fix a tape and a diagram, and then I bought a whole bunch of pencils and I sold them next to the band who was selling tapes as a tape repair kit.
Dude, I'm with you. And the other thing, I think I'm done with tapes, to be honest. I did a couple. I was just like, this is for someone, but it's not for me. Like, they sound like ass. They're not, like, it's...
And I say this, and with all the love to my buddy Jimmy, who runs Locked in the Basement, where he does these great live albums on tape.
Yeah.
And he records the bands for free and gives them the tapes, and I love it. He puts it up on YouTube. And I did a tape with him with my band Leave It Behind that I was in, and RBNX, but, like, only because of him. Like, I was like, I respect what you're doing with this. This isn't some band putting out some cheap, shitty-ass tape. But I still question whether people are buying it to listen to it or just have it. And I really want people to listen to the music I put out.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of those I feel like a lot of those just go in, like, a shelf or a drawer, and that's... Yeah.
And it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want, that's cool. I'm glad you support, but, like, I feel like the hierarchy of how it should be is it's like, fucking go to the show. That's number one. Fucking get the experience, see people being maniacs, or get the connection you want that you're not going to get anywhere else. Buy a record, then, like, streaming and then tapes. Because honestly, like, tape, like you said, I just feel like tapes that's a display piece, man.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a figurine. It's like a Hummel.
Yeah, like you have it to say.
It's a punk rock Hummel.
Dude, like, what was I remember Adam and his package. Like,
yes, I remember them.
You know where I'm going with this, then.
Oh, yeah.
The live 8-track.
Oh, yes. So, Little Lost Girl Media, and I love Athena. Yeah. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. She only puts out 8-tracks.
Yeah.
And I think it's an amazing concept. It's super niche, and she's gotten to work with some amazing bands. But I don't ever buy any, because I don't... But I also don't buy, like, toys. Like, I'm not that guy, like, as much as I love comic books, I don't buy comic book figures and put them around my room. But I know people that do. There are people that love collectibles. It's just not me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm, like, more of, like, a functionality guy.
Yeah.
So, like, if I can't really use it, I don't really getting experience out of it. You know what I mean? So it's like I have to be able to like. Plus, the other thing is too is like I like throwing a record on when like my wife and kid are out of the house and just fucking cranking it all the way.
Right?
And like,
Yes.
how the fuck am I going to do that with something I don't have anything to play it with? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I literally have had bands hand me tapes and CDs, and they're like, "Hey, just want to give you this," and I'm like,
cool.
and I don't know, is the dick move to take it knowing that I'm just gonna like put it aside and lose it, or should I say, "Hey, I really appreciate this, and I'll check out all your shit on like streaming and
That's
Bandcamp,"
exactly it.
but like I don't want to take something that you could actually sell to someone because I'm not going to listen to this format. It's just not gonna. Is that dickish to say that, or is that okay?
No, I feel like you're being honest. Like, you know, like there's always another piece of merch you could always help a band out with, or
Yeah.
honestly just put a couple bucks in their tank. You know,
Yeah.
like just you know, like I will support a band I love to the end of the
Oh,
earth.
absolutely.
But like, man, this is going to collect us, and you could use this to get like I'll give you $5, get another $5 from somebody else who could take this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
I
like
like
I would, they're you know they're giving it to me free. They want me to like promote them, put them on a show, or maybe do a live album, which is very kind.
Yeah.
Or they're thanking me for giving them a show, which is also very kind. I was like, I'd rather just buy a T-shirt from you, and if you want to take $5 off of it for the cost of tape, but I'll pay full price for a shirt, or I'll trade you one of my shirts. Like, I'd much rather have a shirt from you if you don't have vinyl than a tape.
Yeah,
I have too
100%.
many
Like,
shirts.
yeah, you have to probably like me, like a whole closet full of black shirts.
So many fucking shirts.
Dude, you have
I
to-
know at one point my wife had me cut up a bunch of them, and she was gonna have it made into a quilt. That had
Yeah.
to be like 15 years ago, and that just never happened. And it's like, well, those shirts are gone. But I've gained 50 pounds since then anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, same boat. Yeah, but my wife's like, you
Yeah.
don't fit in that. It's got holes. Get rid of it. She's like, you need to wear more colors. And the worst part
See-
is, so, you know, I work at a T-shirt company day after day, so like they give me shirts. So I have so
Sure.
many ungodly amount of T-shirts. They're like, I don't think I've actually like I haven't had to actually buy a shirt in like 3 years because I just have so many of them.
You have so many. I've actually pondered how to give away shirts. Like, if people order a record, I was like, you know what? Like, regular customers, I would love to send them a shirt as a surprise, but I have no way of knowing what their size is. Right? And I guess I could reach out and ask them.
Yeah, you know, why not? Make it fun. Ask, like, you could do things like, you could ask them, like, which, you probably have a mailing list. Go through and be
Yes.
like, hey, if I was going to give something away, which would you prefer? A koozie, a bunch of stickers, a shirt, you know?
Yeah.
And then just sit there and fucking, if you get a bunch of answers on a shirt, just follow them and be like, hey, guys, I'm going to try
There
this.
you go.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. I could try something like that. I could do, big end of year specials like, hey, everyone in my mailing list, if you order a record, I'll give you your choice of free items. You just have to, yada yada. If it's a shirt, you're gonna have to tell me your size.
Yeah. Otherwise, just
Not
send
a
them
bad
6XL.
idea. I have
They-
lots of
they-
shirts.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, if they don't tell you your size, just give them a 6XL. There you go.
There you go.
They'll grow into it.
You'll fit into this. Yeah, like this one. I got this in Baltimore the other night. I'm putting out this Sick Move record, and I'm like, oh, it is white and blue. And my daughter asked me to make her a spaghetti with marinara sauce. I'm like, I'm going to put on a black hoodie while I make this.
Yep.
Because this shit's just going to get ruined. And I ruined so many non-black shirts so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So
Same
quickly.
here, man. Yeah. Funny kids in the shirt story, though. Like, I took my kid to see Marky Ramone last year.
Like, yeah.
And opening for him was, like, the Vibrators V2, like, the one guy from the Vibrators
Sure,
started.
yep.
Yeah. And I took my kid with me because she's huge into the Ramones. And she liked the Vibrators a lot. She's like, Dad, can I get a shirt? I'm like, no. She's like, why can't I get one? And I'm trying to explain, like, my 9-year-old can't wear a Vibrator shirt to school. Like, she's like, but I really like them. I'm like, they don't make your size. She's like, you made them. Can you make me one? I'm like, God damn it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Little too
every
smart.
single quarter. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude.
And you be happy that she's enjoying it. My older kid used to enjoy going to all the shows with me.
Oh, yeah.
And now she's away at school. And she has like an elective that she can take through something called J term. It's like this shortened term where they take some fun classes. And she had the choice of ceramic tiles or punk rock history. And she chose ceramic tiles.
Well, in all fairness, she probably has enough punk rock history talking to her dad. So
That's kind of what she said. She's like, Dad, I've been to your shows. I worked your table. I put records together. I've listened to you talk. And I was like, but
she has
she's
nothing
like,
to gain.
no.
Do you really want her to go to a class where she's correcting the teacher?
That was the other thing. Because when I was a social studies teacher, I was like, no, that's nonsense. Yada, yada, yada. That's such crap. I said, this is what really happened. So she's like, I don't need you. Because I got her in trouble. She went on a field trip to St. Augustine. You know, it was like Ponce de Leon at the Fountain of Youth. And I was like, yeah, there was no such... He didn't even go to St. Augustine. It was founded 40 years after he died. And I was like, here's all the things that's like in that city that's a lie. And they're on the tour. And like she's in like 4th or 5th grade. And she's just spouting off everything that's a lie. And her teacher gets so angry.
Dude, that's perfect. That's awesome.
I was like, come on. So yeah, I would be like, yes. I'd be like, no, the Talking Heads are not a punk band. Yes, I understand they played CBGBs at the same time as the Ramones, but neither is Patti Smith, neither is Blondie. I appreciate the fact that you want to lump them in as early punk rock, but they're not.
Yeah.
You could put MC5 and the Stooges in there, I might accept that, but absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, like that early, like late 70s scene, like, who else you got? Magazine.
Television.
Television. God, yeah, no, that CBGB scene, like, it basically was like early CBGBs, Dictators and Ramones and all the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, and I was like, yeah, that's what I would. And she'd be like, yeah, the Clash are overrated.
So man, she's probably having a great time doing ceramic tiles. In.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah,
I'm sure she will. She's like, I don't need to hear your shit, Dad. All right, so. How do you promote your records? Because you're selling them so quickly, and you're getting, like, do you send all? Like, I send stuff off to review, and I used to try and push the promotion to blogs and zines, but I can check the analytics through my website, and I never get anyone reading a review on some Brazilian website on punk rock.
Yeah,
and it coming back. It makes me feel warm in my heart. It makes the bands feel warm in my heart, but efficacy, it's not doesn't seem to be there for me.
Dude, that's the toughest part, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name names, but I tried to use a PR person this year, and I gave them a good chunk of money. And 3 months after I started working with them, they're like, "When's the record coming out?" I'm like, two months ago. Yeah, and then fucking haven't heard from them since.
Wow.
And oh god, and there was another. Because I was like, this is my blind spot. I'm like, man, I don't have time to do that part of this whole gig, trying to get all that stuff together. Plus, I have no idea what I'm doing there. So I do the whole email and zines sites and being like, hey, it is coming out. Here's why I have written up.
And I have a buddy of mine that's been really helpful recently with writing press releases for me.
Yeah.
And and I send those off to the zines that I've decided are worthwhile, Scene Point Blank, and ones that I think actually are really real punk rock zines as opposed to front sites that are just trying to haggle money off of you. And I send off Razor Cake and whatnot. But yeah, it's hard. I spend a lot of time on social media, more than I'd prefer to.
Yeah.
And I feel like I get a lot of traction from that, but it's exhausting. I'm 48 years old.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend all my time on Instagram and TikTok.
No, and you feel like a whore doing it too. You're just
you do.
Yeah, and it's but at the same time, it's I also have to tell the bands to do that, and it's it used to be so much easier when you could just show up places with flyers and be like, check this shit out. And
see, now I still do that for shows. Could I do that for albums? You think? Should I start posting flyers for my releases all over town? I don't know.
Remember back in the day, all the release posters, you would get shit like that all the time. You see them hanging up in record stores, and it's
yeah, I guess you're right.
You definitely don't see those anymore.
It's been so long, and I've already been fighting the battle to bring back flyers for shows. If you check out my social media, I walk around all the towns hanging up flyers for hours, and I pass out handbills at shows constantly. Yeah. And people look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, no, I'm bringing paper back.
Paper flyers were the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
my bass player, like, he held on to every single flyer he's had since he was 15. And, like, shit, he's got ones for shows I don't remember playing, like, or being at, but, like, seeing, like, weird hand-drawn art that a kid came up with,
Yep.
or, like, someone that's studying tattoos drew, like, some flash piece and there's a bunch of band names written around it. Cool. You know? And it's, I don't know. I want to get back into it, too. Like, last couple of shows I did a bunch of, like, 11 by 17 fucking, like, posters. Yep. And I'm like, yeah, I want to get a whole room just covered, you know?
Yep. I went crazy. I'm doing these monthly Sunday matinees starting next month, and my first poster I did 18 by 24, and I had like 30 of them made. And
Dude,
I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm making my money back for this, but like, let's do this. Let's let the world know that I'm serious about doing monthly punk rock shows at this venue and bringing punk rock back to this town.
Dude, that's awesome.
And so I'm like, all right, well, they definitely see it.
Yeah,
it's fucking huge.
Fuck it. Let's make 2025 the year of the paper flyer again. That's it.
Right? Let's do it.
And honestly, you know what you do for you? Promotion for a show on one side, upcoming records on the other side.
Why the fuck did I never think of that?
Yeah, man.
Why am I a moron? Why are you a genius?
Because, no, here's the thing. Being objective and seeing where other people do stuff, that's how it always works. But we're two burned out dads that are trying to just get through the fucking day. So that's why that happens.
So it's like, yeah, you work, I work. I'm also getting my PhD. I'm married with 2 kids, my 2 teenage daughters. My life is nonstop.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
You play in a band. I just got out of a band, but I will be back in one again soon, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's going to bite you where you're just going to be like, I got to do this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just talked to a buddy the other day who just lost their drummer, and I was like, I would love to offer to step in, but I hate to overpromise, and I'm not quite ready to jump back into a project where I know there are like shows looming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot to get into and commit to right away.
Like if I'm going to do it, and now that I'm doing these monthly shows, and I'm just doing a lot of show promotion right now, I'm like, you know, I don't know, just it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. So, speaking of which, I saw on your Facebook you do a Phameless Fest. Does that still happen?
So next year is going to be the first year I'm going to try to do it again. We stopped doing it for a while because it was just like not the right time, not the right place, and like places were asking way too much money. And the other thing is too is like it was like at the time we didn't actually have bands on the label. It was just the drummer of the band, the drummer for Seeing Snakes, Brian. He was just like, we should just do this, and he would just fucking rip at it, and he did an awesome job. And like, but it was right around the time my daughter was born, so like I wasn't really doing much of anything right then.
Sure, I get that entirely.
Yeah, but like now like 13 Cavities is like, we should do a fest, and I'm like, yeah, we should. So I'm gonna try probably start hitting. There's a venue in Philly I really like.
Okay,
I've done a couple shows at, and it's an old mausoleum factory. So I'm gonna see if maybe the guy who runs it, Eric, will let me do it there. But I'd like to do like 2 days. I don't know how many bands, maybe like 16 bands between both days or something like that.
So you're hitting on like what I'm doing I'm calling it the Rally in the Valley in April. Mm-hmm. This will be the 4th anniversary of the label of our, and it will be ending our 4th year in April, and also like my 49th birthday is that weekend as well. So I'm going to do 2 days, just bands from my label, either that have current releases or releases pending. But I didn't want to call it a fest because I go to a lot of festivals. I worked a lot of table at festivals. And like, if you just have one venue and 10 bands, it's not a fest. It's just a really long show.
Yeah.
It's just a really long show. Like, I feel like it's got to be at least over more than one day. I'd like it to be more than one venue.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to Not Croydon Fest in April because I'm tabling there. I'm a sponsor.
Oh, sweet.
And I'm excited to go, but I also know it's just one venue. And it's like, I feel like it has to be multiple stages, multiple venues for hitting my idea of a fest. And have vendors. Like, that's a fest.
Dude, you're going to have so much fun. This isn't Croydon Fest.
Yeah.
I went last year. I went the year, and I left because I ended up leaving because I was just so beat by the end of the day. Because that's the other thing with those really long, like 8 or 9 band shows.
Yeah.
Like if you come early and the headliner's about to play, you're fucking dead. Like, that place is great though.
Yep.
Broken Goblet's done a lot of really fucking fun
It's a great
shows.
venue. I was there for my release with the Fenzik.
Oh,
So,
right on.
So
Yeah,
that was great.
I've seen so many good shows there across the board, man, and like the people who run it are super sweet, and like the beer's good. So
Yes.
yeah,
And like I get like I think like something like 15 free beers for the weekend for my sponsorship. And
Nice.
I'm like, that's like great. I'm like, I'm bringing Gary from Soji with me to help work it and help show the beers because if like I can't drink 15 beers and drive.
no.
I mean,
no, nor should you.
No, should I? I was like,
Yeah.
this is untenable.
Yeah, but it's a great time there. Like that's one of the coolest places to go see something.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I'm pretty sure it's Jeremy who owns
Jumpstart Records, right?
Yeah.
Hey, are you thinking of going to Kent, Pennsylvania at all?
I am a sponsor this year for the label, so I will be there.
That is rad. If
so-
you'd like to bring your stuff, I'd be happy to table it for you and put it at my table
really?
if you trust me to sell it.
I would. Well, I mean, I'm going to be hanging out with you if you're there. So, yeah,
I will be there. I usually have a cooler of beer, so
yeah. Let me know what you like. You know, I'll bring a bunch of fun Philly beers.
and bring Philly beers. And you know what else we should do? If when you come and do that, we should do some trading too, because I do a small distro, and I traded with like Sell the Heart Records and
Awesome.
Suburban White Trash Rejects or whatever. Oh my god, sorry, I got your label wrong. You know who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I trade with Gary from Soji all the time with his rat milk, collective thing he does. So
Yeah, man. I'm down for fucking hangs and checking out bands anyway. So I'm stoked. I really am stoked for this one.
I'm hoping I get to record the Riot Stage again this year. I don't know if you heard, but I recorded the Riot Stage last year. And I did a Camp Pennsylvania comp that's coming out in a couple months.
I saw the pictures of you holding, I think the vinyl. So that's awesome.
It's gonna be
Be a
sick.
good time. It's gonna be a really good time. I'm excited
Garrett
to
from
see
Skid Row did a great job of recording that.
What was that?
So Garrett from Skid Row did a great job of recording that.
I fucking love Skid Row.
It's fucking great.
That whole crew, like MC, is like one of the nicest guys around.
MC, yeah. And he's been around. He's been doing this forever.
I know.
So long.
And I remember the old original Skid Row garage, which was literally a garage, and yeah, man. And honestly, I know like he got like, fucking pinched for having like I guess with what happened with some kid getting hurt there or something. That's why he had to go through all the hoops to get like his business in order. But man, it's paying off in dividends, and like, good for him, man.
Yep, I agree. It's the way to do it. If I could, and maybe once my kids are out of high school entirely, and I can be gone more evenings, I would like to open a venue, but focus on making it an all ages one.
Yeah.
Like, part of growing up in DC, all the venues were all ages. And I just got to go to so many great shows. And I'm not sure I would have been in a band if I didn't know I could play shows.
Yeah. Okay, it's good to know that it's not just Philly where it feels like that's dying.
Oh, it's dying. I have one venue right now that is a bar that'll do all ages shows, but they're not really a punk bar. But they'll do some shows. Like I had the Big D and the Kids Table show coming there in April, and I've got the Burly Girlies and from Vermont and Squelch from New Jersey coming up, in February. But it's not. They don't do that a lot. And like there's the VFW hall where I saw Chemical X, and I've done stuff at this anarcho info shop called Blackbird, but it's all very few and far between. It's not like a venue where every show is all ages all the time.
I remember when I was a teenager, I would drive up from Philly to Wilkes-Barre, which is in the Poconos,
I know. My mom's from Easton.
Okay, so we would go to Wilkes-Barre, and there was a venue up there called Cafe Metropolis, and every band that was just trying to skip either playing New York or Philly would play this place. So they constantly had just fucking fantastic shows there.
Great bands.
And they were always all ages. They insert booze, nothing like that. So it was just like a coffee machine and sodas up front. That's it. And fucking great time, man. I've made so many friends there. Met so many bands I wouldn't have even heard of otherwise. My favorite that I've ever seen there was a band called Treeford out of Georgia.
Okay.
Not sure if you're
No,
familiar. Oh,
not
so,
familiar.
first time I saw this band, they opened up by starting with two of them laying their dicks on fire.
All right.
And then they one of them drank and everyone's pissed. Like, they made out to each other. They started talking about Cyclopses being bad Smurfs. It was weird, but it was the poppiest music you'll ever hear in your life.
That's hilarious.
But the songs were like, let's see, jerked off to your yearbook picture, rather be gay and play Nintendo 64 and never go out with you again. Like, why do fat kids like Metallica? Like, it was just, look them up.
No, I will definitely give that a look.
I recommend their album, The Streets Will Run Red with the Blood of the Non-Believers. It's...
You know, I appreciate a good sense of humor, of a little, like, South Parkian nature, or, like, a little immature but intelligent humor.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta break it up sometime, right?
Yeah,
like,
everything can't be always serious.
Yeah, like, you need a laugh. You need to be stupid every now and then. I would love to come across a band that... But it's also hard to find bands that do that sort of stuff that are also good.
Yes. It's like, oh, you try and have this shtick, and you're not very good at it. There was a DC band called Hot Charlie. And the one song I really remember is, like, being in love with Uncle Jesse from Full House, and, like, you know, becoming straight edge because they fell asleep at a party and then they got, well, mistreated. So.
Oh, God.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. Yeah. It's one thing to be funny. It's one thing to be funny and good, though. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's
and
hard.
And every scene has that point, too.
And the other thing is, like, you know, it also goes to speak, like, I can listen to a good song over and over again, but if the song is purely a joke song, sometimes the joke just gets, I'm
stale.
Done with it. You know, like, you know, Dead Milkman, I can usually handle almost anything, even if I've heard it 1,000 times. But, like, not every band can give me a joke song that I want to hear the joke over and over again.
Right. I think, like, it's like Dead Milkman and maybe Mojo Nixon for me are probably...
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think solid right there. Right?
Yeah.
That does it. So.
Yeah, man.
So, all right. So, what you got happen in 2025 that you're most excited about?
Oh, God, it's been kind of cool because this is the first year I feel like bands are coming to me to put stuff out. Like, really?
All right.
As far as things that are in the works, so this Alpha Sub band I mentioned, that I'm just wrapping up their
check
album
them out.
now.
It's on my list.
Yeah. I'll send you a tape.
Oh.
That's literally I put out a tape for them to try out tapes.
Yeah.
I put it out and I decided I didn't like them. Hopefully working with Chemical X again. There's a band from Philly called The Membranes that I'm going to help put their record out on vinyl. And then, you know, the compilation. And then see what happens from there, you know? Cool. And honestly, just meeting new bands. That's what I'm really stoked for. Is just like seeing who's doing what, how they're doing it, and just hearing what it all sounds like live.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of that, like, and this is not in any way to put you on any sort of a spot, but if you choose to do a collaboration with someone, and I have a concept called Live and Dead, where it's live on side A and studio on side B. We could always collaborate together, and I can handle the live side, and you handle the studio side, and we would have this whole, like...
I would actually be down for that. So if you want to do that as the compilation I'm talking about...
Oh, dude, that'd be dope.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's make something happen.
Yeah,
man. I'd be super stoked on that, so...
Yeah, I'd be 100% about that. Because like I said, it's just... This shit's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and, like, you know... And I try to explain to people, like, I am one person. Like, when I send people my, like, proposal, I am a one-man operation.
Yeah.
I am doing this not to make money, but because I am a history teacher who believes in documenting the scene I love the way I love it most live.
Right.
I put out bands that don't tour because I like the band, not because I think I'm going to make money on them.
Yeah, and I think that's something that It's so lost. Like this is something we all do because we fucking love music. You know, that's what it all comes down to.
And that came across to me, like just our communications that we had, and just the records. And so, all right, I want to ask you if you have a little bit more time.
Yeah, totally.
All right, cool. I want you to tell me a little story or something about every one of the albums that I bought here. No, about the band. All right. So tell me something about Assemble. I got the Assemble record. Tell me something about them.
That was, so you know Matt Chuck.
Yep.
So we were trying to get that rushed out as quick as humanly possible before their drummer that drummed on that album had his first baby.
Yeah, Tim, right?
Yeah. And he was a fucking beast, man.
He's amazing. You can tell he loves like Travis Barker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
he's all over that.
Solid dudes, and like the other thing that, and Matt Chuck, I'm gonna go with Matt. Really good at printing shirts too. He's really good.
Yes.
He runs Do It Now shirts with Johnny Douglas.
Yes, who used to be in the Ghouls, but now is in Doc Ryan. Yep.
Yes, and Candy Cigarettes, who you should check out as well. If you
I'll check that out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the easiest thing I can tell you about that. That's the fastest we got together and put out a record to be pressed. Yeah.
Did you do like through Solid Merch again, like super quick?
Well, that was through Solid Merch, and I think we got it all together in like 8 weeks, like shipped out like to my door from the day I sent it.
That's astounding. Precision Press also does express shipping now, and they actually allow some flexibility on colors for the vinyl.
Oh, really?
So just so you know,
because
that's who I've been using consistently, largely because of their customer service. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It's like top notch. So I've been really impressed with the shit they do.
I was actually thinking of going. There's a plant 15 minutes from my house called Soft Wax.
Okay.
And I was kind of about it because they're like, I didn't hear anything about it, and their pictures of what they did kind of, I think they're trying to like rebrand and kind of get a little bit more of a footing on things. So I was gonna maybe hit them up and see what it's like, because at least I'll save on shipping if anything.
Yeah, you would save on shipping. I was like, also the number you're ordering, if you get into like the 500 realm, my buddy runs furnace pressing in Virginia, and I know it's just bought by Metallica, but my buddy he's a good, trustworthy person.
Solid.
So, all right. So, let's see here. The Jaelyn record. Tell me about this.
So, their guitarist, Steve, I've been friends with him for years. He is the weirdest person I know. I love him to death. I met his girlfriend, Jaelyn. And they basically approached me, and they're like, hey, we want to do something. It doesn't fit in with anything else you're doing. Would you want to listen to it? It doesn't. And that's fine. Like, I don't want to be fucking pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Just, dude, life gets boring if you just do one thing over and over again. They're like, would you mind checking it out? And if you want to check it out, would you mind putting it out? And then we went through all of that. And then a couple weeks before the release show, the drummer and bass player quit.
Yes.
And I was like, they're now playing, I think they have a full lineup again. So we're going to try and do an actual release show sometime in 2025 for them.
I brought them up to Troy, and it wasn't a bad show, but it was unfortunately it was my least attended show that I've done since I've been here, but not because of them. Troy's very much a hardcore town, and I usually have at least one hardcore band on a show, like tough guy hardcore, and I did not, probably because I didn't inherently think that it would fit with Jaelyn per se. But great record, great people, and someone in that band who also played in a different band who also slept in my house. So we were literally at the bar.
I was going to say, Steve, the guitarist, the one I was telling you about, was also in the Ghouls at one point.
Then that's the person who slept at my house, because the Ghouls have slept at my house before.
There you go.
There you go. That's what happens. Like the last time I played Philly, one of the dudes from Void Control. You remember Void Control?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, I slept in your apartment in D.C." I was like, "You must be Void Control. You're the only band that ever slept in that apartment."
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So I was like, apparently a lot of people in Pennsylvania have slept in my house.
Dude, it's great. Well, dude, thank you for helping everyone out, man. For real.
Yeah. Well, that's how you're supposed to do stuff, right?
Right.
All right. 13 Cavities. I know I told you how I met them, but tell me your story.
So it actually was originally supposed to start with a split with another band.
Okay.
who I'm not going to name because somebody in the art band did some touchy stuff.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, after I started talking to 13 Cavities, and I played with them like once or twice at that point, but once we really dug in and started like talking to them, like, we should just do a full length and fucking
There
go
you
for
go.
it. And I love them. They're three completely different personalities of people. Like, Jason is a super normal, down to earth person. Max is just a really quirky character, and Ash is a bitch, and I love it. She's an asshole. She likes to push buttons. I love her to death. She's great. But I'm very grateful for them. They came over to my house, we ate pizza and just hashed out all the details, and I was like, yeah, we should make this happen.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, she was trying, I forget what it was like. She was just joking around. She said something about like bashing teachers or reading, and I was like, well, that's me right here. And then she started bashing comics. Like, my dissertation is how to use graphic novels to teach historical empathy. I was like, are you just fucking coming at me? Like, what's the deal here?
That's what she does, man. She just finds those buttons and she pushes them, and like,
it was
gosh, she's so good at it.
She was. It was great, and like they were fabulous. And I think we already talked about Chemical X, so those are the 4 records I have. So, dude, you have good choices in music.
Dude, I lucked out, man. But like, it's just one of those things where I really was like, shit. The other thing is too is like when I put out a record, like, I immediately hop on trying to get the bands on board because I know that they're really fucking good. And I'm like, someone's gonna do it. Might as well be me. A question for you, since you did you do so much work with comics and everything. Favorite graphic novel of all time?
Well, that's a difficult question, sir. Are we talking non-fiction graphic novels for the history teacher? Or are we talking graphic novels that are more the superhero based of that most people think about?
I feel I don't think you have to be narrowed down to the superhero base because man, there's a lot of people doing creative stuff in comics like right now. Like, I got into Sweet Tooth, which is Sweet Tooth was great. I finally got around to reading Akira. Like, all
Akira's
fucking
fabulous.
That artwork
Classic.
is beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. Great stuff.
I'm an Alan Moore fan, so
Watchmen all day long. Watchmen's great.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's hard for me to say. Like you said that. Of course, the first thing I think is like the current one that I'm currently reading, which is about George Washington's gay general, Baron von Steuben. So I used to actually bring him up in classes when I was a history teacher, and ostensibly he was a gay general who was kicked out of the German army, and he came, and without him to give discipline and structure to Washington's army, then the army would have like never figured it out. So technically, the American Revolution owes itself to a gay German general,
Baron von
Steuben. Yeah,
I'm gonna look into that because that sounds dope.
So it's a great book, and in it they even like, it's the people who wrote it are not historians, but they admit that, and they go through the process of trying to research this because the rumors have always been there, like that this guy was, definitely a non-traditional sexual orientation, and it gets difficult when you get to that sort of background because people will say, "Oh, Lincoln was gay because he used to sleep with his assistant." I was like, well, traveling lawyers always did. Well, look at his letters. Like, it's been so long since I've had you in my sight and felt the warmth of your kindness. It's like, but men tended to write that way to each other back then too. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tim. I mean, the stuff you shared, your label, it's amazing. Everyone should go check it out. Phameless Records. I'm going to put all the information in the information for the show. Thank you for everyone for being here. Once again, this is a DCPC Live supports the scene. And in a moment, I'm going to go ahead and close out with a track from one of Tim's favorite bands that he wants me to play to end it with. And
I'm going to go weird here. I'm going to go with the song Braces by the band Friend. Only because, these guys really helped me jumpstart doing what I was doing as far as getting all these newer releases out. So check them out. They're the ones that kept me from, kept me going into this. And really reinvigorated my love of wanting to put records out.
Fuck yeah, you heard it there from Tim. Thank you all very much and have a great night.